Hello, how are you, Mr. Felipe?
I'm fine, thank you, Mr. Rayson. And you?
Excellent, Mr. Felipe.
Okay, Mr. Rayson. Today we talk about the 80. In fact, what are you doing? Then about it.
I think the 1980s were a decade of contrast, the Cold War tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union, global terrorism, the existence of AIDS, and other great tragedies marked the 1918s. But it was also a time of great advance and discoveries such as the first PC or the Internet. In addition, it was the decade in which artists such as the King of Pop, Michael Jackson, shone and at the regional level do their show and Duke in several Latin American countries.
Yes, I totally agree with you, Mr. Rayson. And it was an excellent time that is remembered to this date.
Yes, Mr. Felipe, one of these events was the day of a British singer on Monday, December 8, 1980. British musician John Lennon was killed at the entrance to the Dakota Building in New York. His hometown mayor David Chapman, who shot the former Beatles idol singer 5 times, Lennon had just returned from the record plant studio with his wife. Yoko Ono, and was pronounced dead upon arrival in St. Luke's Roosevelt Hospital. Sentence died at the age of only 14. They left an artist legacy that still endures.
Okay, Mr. Rayson. The death of the singer shocked everyone as we was one of the most influential artists in history.
Yes, Mr. Felipe. Another history was that of Juan Pablo II, second on May 1981. Juan Pablo II gained more than 10,000 followers in St. Peter's Square when a burst and gunfire was suddenly heard. The target, the pontiff, a just 23 years old, Mehem Ali Khan, had already threatened the Papa Juan in 1979 when he wrote a letter saying that in the name of Islam he would kill Juan Pablo II during one of his trials. Juan Pablo II was saved in forger the aggressor.
Yes, Mr. Rayson, it was a strong block to the Catholic religion. Okay, Mr. Jason, the reading the female gender. She constantly advanced with the First American government in Spain on June 18. Sally Ride became the first American woman to fly into space when the Challenger shuttle was launched on the XDX-7 mission. Ray was vital in helping the crew deploy, communicate, strategies, and carry out experiments. Born on May 26 in California, Wright attended Stanford University and graduated in physical human to beat too many people who applied for a vacancy in NASA astronaut program.
Yes, Mr. Felipe. It was so important for the female gender since before they did not treat women equally. Besides, for Colombia, it was the century of the Palace of Use by the M-19. In our country, already led by the war against narco-terrorism on November 6 in 1985, is through another blow. The Palace of Use of Colombia, seat of the Supreme Court and the Council of State, was occupied by the M-19, who considered that the Colombian government had violated the peace agreement reached the previous year. The highest use inside the William during a
Okay, Mr. Rayson. As they were very difficult times for Colombia, very difficult. Okay, Mr. Rayson. Latin American sport was too influential this year why the Argentine team, with Maradona win the 1986 World Cup. The 1986 World Cup was based in Mexico on June 29th. Of the same year was the scheduled final, Argentina vs Germany. The Azteca Stadium was exploding and the last minute were her attack after Rudy Boller started the match 2-2. But 2 minutes later, Diego Armando Maradona received the ball in the middle of the field and some the Rex B. German retreats and they gave an expect pass to George Burchaga, who scored the final goal. They gave Argentina the title.
Yes, Mr. Felipe. Actually, sport has a great influence on people's life. However, Maradona changed everything considering himself one of the gods of football. In short, the 1980s were one of the most important decades in human history, marked by the technology advance in was recognized for the era of fashion and political tragedies that foster human conscience.
Exactly, Jason is going to make a time to remember for a lifetime. Lifetime. Thank you, Mr. Rayson.
Thank you, Mr. Felipe. See
Goodbye.
you later.
See you again.